So, as we all know, yesterday we have gone through the concepts of introduction to questionnaire design, and therein we have discussed overview. We had overview of questionnaire use in research, in which we have highlighted importance in data collection and types of questionnaire, self-administered and interviewer administered, and so on. Then we had discussion on objectives of a good questionnaire, wherein we have focused our discussion on gathering reliable, valid, and sensitive information, followed by conversation on reducing respondent burden and avoiding bias, and we also had various activities. And then we have discussed the particular aspects of this workshop. Then we had our discussion on principles of questionnaire design, and we focused our conversation on understanding the research problem, types of questions, constructing effective questions, and question order and flow. Then we had discussion on reliability in questionnaires, wherein we have understood the concept of reliability, followed by techniques to enhance reliability and use of Cronbach alpha for internal consistency. Then we discussed how to ensure validity in questionnaires, and we have gone through the concept of validity, and we have discussed its types, content, construct, and criterion validity. And then we have seen how to create Google Forms. So let us start our today's topic on sensitivity in questionnaires, followed by pilot testing and refining the questionnaire, and then ethical considerations in questionnaire design. If time permits, I will show you the entire questionnaire developed during this 2 days workshop. And again, if time permits further, I will show you how to use SPSS, some of you if you are interested. So let us begin. So uh, as I already told you, you have recalled the concepts we have gone through yesterday, right? So day one covered the fundamentals of questionnaire design with an emphasis on structure, reliability, and validity. We explored the principles of clarity, the sequence of questions, and item construction. And key takeaways included using techniques like Cronbach alpha to measure internal consistency, ensuring that questionnaires are both reliable and valid, and understanding how each question type serves as a unique purpose in consumer behavior related studies. So today we will focus on making questionnaires sensitive to subtle changes, testing them through the pilot studies, and adhering to ethical standards, right? So the foundation from day one will support your skills as we proceed with advanced concepts today. So let us explore the concept through a caselet. A study on brand loyalty utilized Cronbach's alpha to verify the consistency of items related to consumer trust and satisfaction. By confirming reliability, researchers gathered dependable data on factors driving loyalty. So the question arises, why is internal consistency important in consumer behavior related studies? Yes, please. Why is internal consistency important in consumer behavior related studies? I request all of you to participate in the caselets and the discussions, which will make the session more lively. You can just give it a try. We already discussed this concept in detail yesterday. Anyone? Just give a try. Okay, it ensures that related items provide consistent measurements. How does validity contribute to questionnaire quality? How does validity contribute to questionnaire quality? Anyone? Just think over and discuss. It confirms that the questionnaire accurately measures the intended concepts. Okay. Now, Cronbach's alpha is used to measure validity or internal consistency. Cronbach
B.
cell.
It's B.
Okay. Others? It's
D. B.
B. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Both of you are right. It is internal consistency. Right. Content validity ensures comprehensive coverage of the subject or randomized response order.
A. A.
Okay.
A,
Others?
A,
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. All of you are right. It is comprehensive coverage of the subject. That is option A. Now let us perform one activity. We can review the sample questionnaire for reliability indicators. Hope you have paper and pen ready with you and you can actually perform the activity. So first, you need to examine the questionnaire for consistency in language, terminology, and response options. So, the reliability indicators are consistency in similar question phrasing, use of standardized response scales like 5 point, 7 point, or 10 point Likert scales for similar constructs, then grouping similar types of questions to reduce cognitive load and maintain answer consistency, right? So, identifying reliability indicators ensure the questionnaire can produce stable, repeatable results, providing a strong foundation for accurate data analysis. Now we can focus on sensitivity in questionnaires. Anyone who can suggest what we mean by sensitivity in questionnaires? Okay. Every question is called in research, what it is called? It is called item, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Sensitivity is essential for capturing slight changes in respondents' attitudes or behaviors. This concept is critical in consumer behavior studies, where attitudes may shift subtly due to changes in product perception or brand trust. Sensitive questions allow researchers to gauge these minor differences without influencing responses unduly. This means designing questions that can identify small but meaningful changes, helping uncover deeper insights into consumer attitudes. For instance, a question on brand preference could range from strongly prefer to neutral to prefer competitor, detecting slight preference shifts. So, a study on product satisfaction used sensitive questions to track slight changes in consumer attitudes over time, providing insights into evolving brand perceptions. Why is sensitivity important in consumer behavior research? Why is sensitivity important in consumer behavior research? It captures minor but significant attitude changes. How does sensitivity enhance data quality? How does sensitivity enhance data quality? It enables nuanced insights that improve understanding. So, sensitive questions are essential for capturing broad trends or detecting subtle changes. Purpose of sensitive questions in the questionnaire. Yes, please try.
B,
B.
B, ma'am.
Right, right. So you are getting the concepts. I am really appreciate your interest. It is B, detecting subtle changes. Sensitivity helps in simplifying responses or improving response accuracy. Purpose of sensitivity. Yes, ma'am. It is. Please try.
B, ma'am.
B.
It is B.
Improving response accuracy.
Very right. It is improving response accuracy. Right. Now we can perform an activity. We can develop a question that captures slight shifts in product preference. If you want to try, I can stop here and give you 2 minutes to do it. Otherwise, I can explain the steps and the solution. Your choice. Because if you perform yourself during the workshop, you gain more hands-on expertise. Okay. So the steps are, first, we need to define product preference. We need to focus on aspects that reflect subtle preferences, such as the choice between different product features. Then we need to formulate the question. For example, how likely are you to choose product A over product B due to its eco-friendly packaging? And the scale options can vary from very unlikely to neutral to very likely, right? So this scale allows respondents to indicate even slight preferences, providing nuanced insights into shifts in consumer choices. So what we want to know? We want to know which product customers prefer, uh, A or B, on the basis of eco-friendly packaging. And to measure this, we have given the options from unlikely, very unlikely to neutral to very likely, so that we are able to monitor even the slight change in the preferences. Clear? Now, ensuring sensitivity, scales and questioning techniques. So as we know, sensitivity in questionnaires often depend on the scale used. For example, a 7-point Likert scale provides more room for nuanced responses than a 5-point scale, making it ideal for capturing subtle shifts. In consumer behavior, where attitudes may be influenced by social desirability, framing questions neutrally is vital to avoid pushing respondents towards socially acceptable answers. For example, instead of asking, "Do you think buying eco friendly products is the right choice?" a more sensitive approach would be, "How important is environmental impact when making a purchase?" Please note the difference. Do you think buying eco friendly products is the right choice? Or how important is environmental impact when making a purchase? This encourages honest, reflective responses without moral pressure. So, a study on eco-conscious shopping habits used a 7-point Likert scale to capture subtle attitudes towards sustainability, avoiding socially desirable phrasing to ensure authenticity. So, how does a 7-point Likert scale enhance sensitivity? How does a 7-point Likert scale enhance sensitivity? It allows for more nuanced responses. Why is it important to avoid socially desirable questions? Why is it important to avoid socially desirable questions? It minimizes bias, leading to more honest responses. A 7-point scale provides limited response options or greater response sensitivity.
B, ma'am.
Okay. Others?
B, ma'am.
Okay.
B. Greater response sensitivity.
Okay. Greater response sensitivity. Yes. Yes. B is the correct answer. Very right. Avoiding social desirability helps by increasing honesty in responses or simplifying questions. Avoiding social desirability. Yes, please.
A, ma'am.
A
Okay.
should be.
Okay. Okay. It is A. You are right. Increasing honesty in responses. So you see, it is not easy to design a questionnaire. And again, it is not easy to work on sensitivity, reliability, and validity. Whenever we come across a request to fill a questionnaire, as a researcher, we can understand how much effort has been put in designing the questionnaire. So design a neutral question on environmental impact in consumer choices. Can anyone try here? Can you design a neutral question on environmental impact in consumer choices or any topic of your choice? Okay, let me explain the steps. So first we need to identify desired information. We can gauge the importance of environmental impact without influencing the responses. So first we need to identify the desired information and then we can draft a neutral question based on it. For example, how important is environmental impact of a product in your purchasing decisions? And the scale can vary from not important at all to moderately important to extremely important. So, what we are trying to discuss here is neutral phrasing ensures respondents feel free to express varying levels of concern about environmental impact without feeling pressured. Handling sensitive topics. Handling sensitive topics requires a respectful and thoughtful approach. Topics related to personal values, ethics, or private preferences may cause discomfort or reluctance to answer honestly. Using indirect questioning can alleviate discomfort, such as asking about general opinions on environmental issues rather than individual behaviors. Ethical considerations include maintaining respondent privacy, assuring confidentiality, and framing questions to avoid intrusive language. For example, instead of directly asking, do you always recycle? An indirect question might be, how common is recycling in your household? Please understand. First question, where we ask directly, do you always recycle? If someone asks, how do we feel? Let us assume ourselves to be respondent. So, indirect question can be, how common is recycling in your household? So, while framing the questionnaires or the questions or the items in a questionnaire, we need to take into consideration the mindset of the respondent. Then it will be realistic. But we also need to adhere to our research. This approach helps respondents answer more openly. The more comfortable they feel, the more honestly they will respond. Otherwise, they will just do the formality. A study on consumer ethics used indirect questioning techniques to assess opinions on sustainable practices, reducing respondent discomfort and yielding more authentic responses. Why is indirect questioning effective for sensitive topics? Why is indirect questioning effective for sensitive topics? Basically, it reduces discomfort, allowing for honest responses. How does framing affect respondent comfort? How does framing affect respondent comfort? Basically, proper framing prevents respondents from feeling judged. Sensitive topics require direct questioning or thoughtful framing of the questions.
B. B, ma'am.
B.
Thoughtful
Thoughtful
framing.
framing.
Okay, thank you so much. It is B, thoughtful framing. I hope now you understand the difference, right? Indirect questions help by increasing respondent comfort or reducing data quality.
A.
Increasing response comfort.
Okay, others?
A.
Right. It is A, increasing respondent comfort. Now you can perform the activity to understand this. You can rephrase a direct question on recycling to an indirect format. So first you need to identify a direct question. For example, as I have discussed, do you recycle regularly? And to rephrase for indirectedness, you can say, how common is recycling among people in your household? So, indirect phrasing reduces personal pressure, allowing respondents to answer without feeling judged, which can lead to more accurate data collection on sensitive behaviors. Now, let us move on to the next concept related to pilot testing and refining the questionnaire. Pilot testing basically is a crucial step in questionnaire development, allowing researchers to identify issues before full deployment. Through pilot testing, we can spot unclear or confusing questions, determine if any parts of the survey disrupt the flow, and assess how questions perform in capturing reliable and valid data. Testing on a smaller representative sample lets researchers gather feedback and make necessary refinements. For example, in a consumer behavior survey, if respondents find a question like, how often do you purchase eco-friendly products vague, it can be rephrased to how often do you purchase products labeled as eco-friendly. Now let me repeat, please note down the difference. If a question is, how often do you purchase eco-friendly products? Respondents may find it vague. So it can be rephrased as, how often do you purchase products labeled eco-friendly? So framing of the question also plays a major role. Pilot testing ultimately improves clarity, flow, and response accuracy, ensuring the final questionnaire is optimally designed for comprehensive data collection. Now, a survey on brand satisfaction was pilot tested with a small group. Feedback revealed that respondents found the language too technical. The researchers simplified terminology and clarified instructions, leading to a higher completion rates in the full survey. So, why is pilot testing valuable in questionnaire design? Why is pilot testing valuable in questionnaire design? Yes.
If any fault is there, that we can find out in the pilot study actually.
Okay, very right. Others also, please give a try. I appreciate John, sir. Yes, ma'am.
It's to test the reliability and validity and also the feasibility of the study.
Right. So I really appreciate at least the respondents have, you people have started taking interest in responding to case studies. I understand the topic is very technical and it takes time to understand and to respond. Moreover, the caselets are limited, right? So we need to frame more from our side, right? Both of you are right. It identifies confusing elements and allows refinement. How does pilot testing improves data quality? How does pilot testing improve data quality? The more we
Uh,
discuss, more we learn. Yes, ma'am.
from the feedback revealed from the respondents. So based on that, it can be rectified.
Right, right. Very right, ma'am. Anyone else? John sir or anyone who wants to give it a try? Yes, ma'am is very right. It helps ensure questions are clear, improving response accuracy. So you see in case studies, basically nothing is wrong or right, but we all go through the same caselet and arrive at different solutions. That is the beauty of caselets, which gives more room for brainstorming from where we can generate ideas, which are very, very important for running businesses. Pilot testing primarily helps in reducing questionnaire length or identifying potential issues.
B.
Identifying potential issues.
Right,
B.
right. It is the identifying potential issues. Right. Pilot testing should ideally be conducted on a small representative sample or the entire target population.
A small
A.
representative sample.
So I really appreciate you are very, very clear with the research concepts, the theoretical part and the basics. Yes, a small representative sample is the right answer. Now you can create a sample pilot test question and collect feedback from peers. How can we do this? We can draft a sample pilot test question as I discussed. How satisfied are you with the customer support for this product? You may use a 5-point Likert scale ranging from very dissatisfied to very satisfied. Then you can circulate among peers and you can collect the feedback. You can ask them if they found the question clear and if any adjustments were needed. And you can document any feedback to refine the question. So, testing with peers can reveal wording issues or ambiguities, improving clarity and data reliability in the final questionnaire. Right? Peers can give free advice, free opinions, which might be valuable for refining of your questionnaires and which must be backed by some logic. You can discuss with them at length if they are suggesting any change, what is the reason, which concept they are referring to, and all. And this will keep on refining your questions, and you can also help others in refining their questions. So,
Madam,
both.
one question actually.
Yes,
This
please.
what is the size of the pilot study for as per the percentage of sample size actually? So if the sample size is 500, what
Yes.
could be the pilot samples?
Uh, it depends. Basically, we want to know the correctness of the questionnaire that we have designed. Right, when
It
I
should be
have
some.
taken, yes, when I have taken my study, rather than going for number of respondents, let me tell you what we did. First, to identify the problem, like my study was on strategies for shopping mall loyalty. Since I belong to Ambala in Haryana, first I went to, it is 2010, selected malls, upcoming malls in Chandigarh. There were 3 malls we have identified to find the problem. What could be the area of study first, right? And we have developed the synopsis, and during the presentation, the experts advised no doubt the malls are reaching saturation in NCR. Still, we need to take into consideration the malls in NCR for making the study effective. So we need to ask from experts basically, and we need to know how we can improve the quality. Basically, rather than mentioning the number of respondents, we need to know the quality of the persons who are going to give you the feedback. So for pilot testing, we do not only go for two peers, we also go to experts. Like one is your guide, one maybe, or one or two maybe industry experts, one or two maybe, or few persons may be the respondents, right? Maybe 25% you can say or so, based on how much you can approach. And if you are taking, age group, a particular age group, say maybe from 18 to 40 years, then the pilot testing should cover different age groups. If you are taking geographical areas, entire nation, so you should take cover respondents from different geographic backgrounds, right? So we need to take into consideration various factors during pilot testing rather than just simply focusing on the number of respondents. I hope I am able to clarify, Johnson.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes,
So
yes.
this is how we need to think broadly. Basically, our purpose is to get accurate responses. Because if we do not focus on the quality of the respondents, then we will get responses accordingly. And based on the responses and their analysis and interpretations, we are going to give recommendations or suggestions either to industry or to policymakers. And it will be the reflection of the response quality, right? And response quality again will depend on the questionnaire we have designed. Clear? So we should not focus only on numbers during the pilot testing, but we should also focus on various dimensions. But maybe 25%
Okay.
will be sufficient, broadly
Okay.
speaking. But you need to discuss it from various perspectives. Like I have just tried to explain. Maybe you can say clustering, right? You can make clusters, maybe based on geography, maybe based on age group, maybe based on other aspects related to your study. And all clusters must be covered during pilot testing, right?
Yes.
And,
Correct.
and respondents also should be of varied types. As I mentioned, the ultimate customers, the major portion, maybe 75% of 25 respondents, then few industry experts, then few peers, and then few your guide and other senior academicians or any other stakeholder you feel important. Maybe the mall managers, like in my case, or maybe the policymakers of the center or the state or the local government, right? Because the research is realistic only when it is going to bring change either in the industry or in policy formulation. Otherwise, we just conduct the research, we complete the degree, and we get the doctorate degree. But ultimate aim of research is either to bring changes in the industry, to make it realistic, or to contribute to improvement in policy formulation, either improvement or new policy formulation, right? That should be the objective. And that is the actual purpose of conducting the research, right? So should we move forward?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So, as we were discussing, testing with peers can reveal wording issues or ambiguities, improving clarity and data reliability in the final questionnaire. Based on personal experience, even I feel peers give free opinion and we learn a lot from them, right? And there are no apprehensions among peers. But all the respondents during pilot testing should not be peers. So how to conduct a pilot test? Like we just discussed, let us discuss it in a formal way. Conducting a successful pilot test involves careful planning, as I have just explained. We can start by selecting a sample that represents your demographic, as their feedback will reflect actual respondent experiences. Use open-end questions to capture their impressions about the questionnaires' clarity, wording, and overall flow. For instance, ask, did you find any question unclear or difficult to answer? So conversation is important with the respondent during pilot testing. Otherwise, you give the questionnaire, they will fill and return you back. How will you get to know the quality? For this, you need to indulge them into conversation. And with peers, you can do it easily. So this feed, and if they give any feedback, like this question is unclear or difficult, then you try to explore what is unclear and what difficulty they find in responding, and note their responses minutely, because this will help you in improving the questionnaire quality, one thing. Second, as we discuss in systematic literature review, like we need to document each and every step and number. Similarly, during your thesis writing, you need to document each and every response. Like so many peers suggested this, so I made these changes. So many industry experts advised this, so question number 50 to 60 have been revised based on the industry experts, or question number 89 and 90 or 20 to 30 have been, or 20 to 22 have been drafted based on the responses from the policymakers. And this will actually give evaluators of the thesis an impression, or the expert who is going to evaluate or who has come to see your final thesis or pre-thesis viva, they will gain confidence that you have worked in actual. That is why you are elaborating every detail that you have documented while framing the questionnaire. I request all of you to make it a habit. Whatever changes you make, whether in systematic literature review or questionnaire or drafting or anywhere, please mention every point in detail in your thesis. It will give realistic form to your work, right? So we were discussing that, for example, did you find my question, did you find any question unclear or difficult to answer? This feedback is invaluable for refining questions and addressing any confusing elements. After collecting responses, analyze data to identify patterns in feedback and make necessary revisions. If major changes are made, consider repeating the pilot test to confirm improvements, ensuring that the final questionnaire is as accurate and user friendly as possible. Right? So, a study on consumer attitude towards organic products included a pilot test that revealed confusing terminology. Researchers replaced complex terms like certified organic. If we are using such terms, respondents may find uncomfortable understanding the terms. They may not ask you, they may skip the question, right? Which will ultimately affect the quality of your responses. So you need to replace complex terms with more familiar phrases, leading to clearer responses. So what type of feedback is crucial in pilot testing? Which type of feedback is crucial in pilot testing? Yes, sir.
And sincere feedback actually, how it is done actually, rather than complex, how when actually we have progressing.
Right. So feedback on question clarity and survey, right? Why is it beneficial to repeat a pilot test? Why is it beneficial to repeat a pilot test?
It's for a clear response.
Yeah,
To
it
cover
confirms.
all the segments, ma'am. To cover
Pardon?
all the segments of the topic.
Please repeat.
To cover all the segments which are to be in the subject of
Yes.
study.
Yes, one thing. And second is, it confirms that revisions have addressed prior issues. Suppose you have conducted a pilot testing and some of these respondents suggested some changes, and you revised your questionnaire, and then again you conducted pilot testing. So it confirms the revisions you have addressed prior issues. If you conduct pilot testing and you get similar feedback that you got after first pilot test, it means still the questions have, you were not able to improve the quality of the questions. But if you do not face any such issues, you can get confidence that you have addressed revisions uh, which you find uh, earlier, right? The issues you find earlier, now you have made necessary revisions in the questionnaire, right? So it confirms that revisions have addressed prior issues. Clear? So the primary aim of feedback collection in a pilot test is to shorten the survey or improve clarity and flow.
B.
Yes, it is B, improve clarity and flow. If major changes are made post-pilot, means after pilot testing, researchers should proceed to the full sample or conduct another pilot test.
B, ma'am.
Okay. Now I hope it is clear. We should conduct another pilot test. It is not just one time. It is based on the accuracy or the quality. Clear? Like I was discussing, since I have taken NCR as my area, final area of study, and I get pilot testing done in Chandigarh. Will it be realistic one? Will it be realistic?
Yeah,
How?
no, you're taking a real situation, no?
This is what I'm trying to explain. I am, yeah, no doubt I'm taking a real situation. But the respondents, those who are residing in Chandigarh, their lifestyle, their preferences might vary from those who are residing in NCR. So if I'm conducting pilot test, I must conduct pilot testing in NCR. This is what I'm trying to explain.
How many iterations of pilot test you normally would do? Iterations?
Till you overcome all the issues you found.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it is not the number of times you need to conduct pilot test. It is basically the ultimate quality you achieve for the questionnaire till it becomes issue free. No issues, right? Every time you conduct a pilot test, every time you get some quality feedback, you need to incorporate. Again you conduct, again you got some quality feedback, again you need to repeat. Ultimately you will reach the level, maybe in the first chance, second chance, that now it is perfect enough to go ahead. No more further suggestions, for no more further scope of improvement is there, right? So you reach the upmost level, right? So you can develop feedback questions for a pilot test on you can develop feedback questions for a pilot test on product preferences. For this, you can identify aspects to test: clarity, flow, and relevance of questions in the product preference survey. So the sample feedback questions can be: were any questions unclear or confusing? Yeah. Did the order of questions make sense? Were there any questions you felt were irrelevant? Another suggestion I would like to give here is, rather than sending the questionnaire by email or in the Google form on WhatsApp, I request you to personally gather the responses. Because one thing, you get feedback from the respondents. While responding, you can indulge them in conversation or maybe after filling the responses. Second, you will learn how to gather responses. It's not that you can gather the response. Like some respondents, they are not fond of filling the questionnaire. So you can start conversing with them like husband and wife shopping inside the grocery store, in a mall, and husband waiting outside, maybe with kids. So during that time, you can just start conversation with him. How is his experience? How frequently he comes to that? And you keep all the questions you have in your questionnaire in your mind, and you may ask based on the flow of conversation in any order, so that the flow of conversation remains. And based on their feedback, you can fill your questionnaire on his or her behalf. But basically, the aim is to get realistic feedback that will get filled up, right? This is the one way to collect questions. And if you are talking to them and they suggest, no, no, you should ask this way, this will be better. Though you are conversing with the person, but still you get the response, right? That he has given some suggestion on reframing of the question. I hope you understand. So one-to-one conversation is always better rather than sending it by email or by post or by WhatsApp, right? And please go to the real sites, real situations, and gather the things. Rest based on the study, the nature of the study you have undertaken. But this is the approach which I suggest, especially in consumer behavior related studies. The more you remain in contact with the persons who are there to give you feedback, the more quality you will gather. Clear? And you should not insist anyone to fill the questionnaire. Our purpose is to get the real feedback, whether they fill or we fill, right? So targeted feedback questions help identify specific areas for improvement, enhancing question relevance and response accuracy. Cognitive interviewing. Anyone who can tell me what is cognitive interviewing? Though I have mentioned here. So as I just mentioned, you can read it from this slide. Cognitive interviewing is a valuable technique in questionnaire design, revealing how respondents interpret and understand each question, right? By having respondents think aloud while answering, researchers can detect any misunderstandings or biases in real time. This method also includes probing questions, where the interviewer asks for clarification on certain responses. For example, if respondent hesitates on a question about brand loyalty, probing can reveal whether the term was unclear. Cognitive interviewing helps refine question wording, reducing the risk of misinterpretation and enhancing overall data quality. This method is especially beneficial for complex topics like consumer behavior, where nuanced understanding is essential. Clear? So this is what we can do, probing questions and all, if we are there in face-to-face setup. So a cognitive interview for a survey on brand loyalty showed that respondents struggled with the term commitment to purchase. Researchers revised the term to likelihood to buy again, right? For us, this term is very familiar, commitment to purchase. But what about respondents? They may feel more comfortable with the term likelihood to buy again. So which respondents found easier to understand? So how does cognitive interviewing improve question comprehension? How does cognitive interviewing improve question comprehension? Yes. Basically, it reveals respondent interpretations and misunderstandings. Why is probing important in cognitive interviews? Why is probing important in cognitive interviews? Basically, probing provides additional insights on response accuracy, right? Cognitive interviewing is primarily used to simplify questions or understand respondent thought processes.
B.
Very right, ma'am. Understand respondent thought processes, right? That is why you see most of the times we go for non-probability sampling rather than probability sampling, because we are concerned more with the quality, right? Maybe convenience, maybe judgment, maybe combination of both, rather than random or stratified. That is the purpose. Sample size may be limited, geography may be limited, but what about the quality? Quality might be more, which is our ultimate aim, right? So the think aloud method helps identify surveillance issues or misinterpretations or biases.
B.
Right. It is, yeah, it is B, misinterpretations or biases. Now we can conduct a cognitive interview with a peer on a sample question. We can choose a sample question, for example, how often do you buy organic products? So ask peers to think aloud. This we can do when we are in face-to-face situation or we are on video call. That can be another option, or audio call, right? But conversation is important, what I mean to say, whether it is audio call, video call, or face-to-face setup. Encourage the peer to explain their thought process as they answer. Even if their response is right, your question is accurate. Still probe them to share their thought behind responding in a particular manner, right? This will give you various perspectives, and this will give you confidence that you are right in framing the questions. That is also important. Use probing questions. So identify your respondents during pilot testing wisely. Use probing questions. What do you understand by organic in this context? This is the question. Like when you asked, how often do you buy organic products? The respondent mentions frequently, for example, right? But then ask, can you please explain what do you mean by organic in this context? Then you will get to know how much clarity the respondent had towards your question, towards your study. If answer is right, then only you should go ahead, right? And you can also get to know about the respondents you have selected for your pilot testing. So cognitive interviews reveal how respondents interpret questions, enabling refinements to reduce misunderstandings. Basic focus is on improving quality rather than number. Now, ethical considerations in questionnaire design. Ethical considerations are critical in questionnaire design, safeguarding respondents' rights and privacy. Informed consent is a foundational ethical step. Informing participants about the purpose of the study, the voluntary nature of their participation, and how their data will be used. Anonymity and confidentiality are also paramount, especially with sensitive topics, to ensure respondents feel secure in sharing honest answers. Handling sensitive data requires adherence to data protection standards, including secure shortage and limited access. In a survey on consumer behavior, respecting respondents' privacy encourages trust, leading to more accurate and candid responses. A study on consumer privacy in digital shopping included strict confidentiality measures, assuring respondents that their data was securely stored and only used for research purposes. Why is informed consent necessary in questionnaires?
To maintain confidentiality.
Right. It ensures participants understand their rights and the purpose of the study you have undertaken. How does confidentiality impact respondents' honesty? How does confidentiality impact respondent honesty? Basically, confidentiality increases trust, encouraging honest responses. So whenever you make a questionnaire, like yesterday I was showing you on the in how to create a questionnaire in Google form, you see above main heading we have a space to write. Therein you can mention informed consent. Like you introduce yourself, like I am a scholar for so and so study with so and so university, and this is your year of study, and this is the study you have undertaken, and provide assurance that their privacy will be maintained, and their identity will not be disclosed, and other things I will share in detail in coming slides. Right? So anonymity protects data analysis or respondent identity.
Respondent identity.
Respondent identity. Informed consent involves explaining the study's purpose or collecting only demographic data.
Hmm.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
yes, explaining the study's purpose. So we need to draft an informed consent statement for a questionnaire on brand perception. You can give it a try. If you want to speak aloud, you can. It is your choice. Or if you want, I can show. Yes. So first we need to outline key points like purpose, data confidentiality, and voluntary participation. And here is the sample consent statement. Your participation in this brand perception survey is voluntary. We should not force anyone to respond. It is the willingness of the respondent to respond. All responses will be kept confidential and used solely for research purposes. You may withdraw at any time. So you can mention this consent statement at the top, right? Or maybe at the bottom, wherever you feel convenient, where with the flow of the study, right? So a well-crafted consent statement reassures participants and aligns with their ethical research practices. I hope this is clear now. This is just a
Yes,
sample,
yes.
right? Crisp
Yeah.
and to the point. So you have informed about your study. You have informed about their willingness. You have mentioned about their confidentiality to be maintained and the purpose and their choice to withdraw from responding anytime. Clear? So this will help build their trust in your research and in responding to your questionnaire. So informed consent is essential in maintaining ethical standards in research, especially when collecting data from participants. It ensures that respondents are fully aware of the purpose of the study, procedures, expected duration, and the ways their data will be used. This fosters a transparent relationship with participants and upholds their rights. Key elements of the informed consent include a clear explanation of the goals of the study, a statement that participation is voluntary, and assurance of data confidentiality. For online surveys, an electronic acknowledgement can serve as a consent, whereas traditional research often uses signed forms. In consumer behavior studies, consent is crucial, particularly if sensitive data is collected. For instance, if studying brand loyalty, respondents should know that their data will only be used for research reinforcing trust. A study on customer data privacy implemented a comprehensive informed consent form that outlined data handling and confidentiality measures, boosting participant trust. What information should be included in an informed consent form? I
The
hope we.
purpose, then
Yes,
procedure, and also the durations of the study.
right. I really appreciate to the point answer. Study purpose, procedures, data usage, and confidentiality. Thank you, ma'am. How does informed consent enhance research ethics? How does informed consent enhance research ethics?
It enhances participants' trust.
Right. Right, sir. Very right. It ensures transparency and respects for participants' rights. Informed consent ensures that participation is voluntary and informed or mandatory for all.
A.
Informed, yeah, it is A, very right, voluntary and informed. Informed consent forms typically include only demographic questions or study purpose and confidentiality details.
B.
Yes, it is B, study purpose and confidentiality details. Draft an informed consent paragraph for a survey on brand loyalty. I hope now everyone can do. So you should include study purpose and confidentiality assurance. Now see, consent paragraph. This survey aims to study factors affecting brand loyalty. You told about your research, your aim. Your responses are confidential and will only be used for this research. Participation is voluntary and you may withdraw at any time, right? So clear consent enhances trust and ensures ethical compliance. Anonymity and confidentiality. Anonymity and confidentiality are core principles of ethical research, especially when handling sensitive data. Anonymity ensures that a respondent's identity cannot be linked to their responses, which encourages honesty. For example, in a consumer behavior study on buying preferences, anonymity can help respondents feel comfortable answering truthfully. Confidentiality goes further by ensuring that personal information provided by participants is protected and kept secure. Techniques for maintaining these standards include using anonymized IDs for each respondent, storing data in secure databases, and limited access to only essential personnel. These measures help build participant trust, which in turn improves response accuracy and research reliability. A study on ethical shopping habits ensured confidentiality by anonymizing responses and using encrypted storage. Participants reported higher levels of comfort, contributing to the quality of the data. How does anonymity encourage honest responses? How does anonymity encourage honest responses? It assures respondents. Yes, sir.
Confidentiality.
Yes. Yes. It assures respondents that their identities are not linked to their answers.
Mhm.
Right? Why is confidentiality crucial in survey research? Why is confidentiality crucial in survey research? It protects personal data and fosters participant trust. Anonymity means only researchers know the respondents' identities or no link between responses and identity? Yes.
A.
Anonymity.
B. B. It should be B. ma'am.
Okay. Two different responses. So others, please. Others also should respond. Yeah, it is basically B, no link between responses and identity. I think I have mentioned in the beginning. Anonymity. Yes, see, anonymity is ensures respondent's identity is not linked to responses. Right? Do you understand the meaning of it? What does it mean? Like I have gathered responses from say 20 persons, right? But I do not know which person has given which response, right?
Mhm.
That is anonymity. No link between the response and the respondent, or respondent identity and responses, right? Like all of you are chatting with me or talking with me, but I do not know who has spoken what. I just know the responses that during my session, so many participants said this, but I do not know who said what. Clear? This is what we mean by anonymity. Have you understood?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Because in research, we are concerned with the responses, not with who said what. Right? That is something we need to assure them so that they gain confidence to give you real inputs, real feedback. Confidentiality involves limiting access to participant information or asking demographic questions only.
A.
Okay, others? Please respond. Everyone should respond. It is?
Access to participant information.
Yes. Very right, ma'am. It is limiting access to participant information. Right. Now outline steps to ensure anonymity in a brand preference survey. Outline steps to ensure anonymity in a brand preference survey. How can we do this? Let us see. So we need to use anonymized identifiers. So instead of names, you can assign them codes like R001, respondent 1, R002. Why we have taken 3 digits? It means we have minimum 100 respondents. 3 digits, 3 places, unit tens and hundreds. Right? So if you assign codes, you know the responses, but you do not know who said what. Right? Avoid collecting identifying data. So you should exclude personal identifiers like email. You see, yesterday when we were creating Google form, there was an option in settings whether you want to collect email IDs or not. If you disable this option, then you will never get to know who said what. Clear? Or even if you gather email IDs for some other purpose, say you want to send more emails to them, then you should keep them safely so that information remains with you only and it will not be used for any other purpose rather than the research you are undertaking. Right? Limited data access. So you can restrict data access to essential research personnel. So ensuring anonymity protects respondent privacy, encouraging honest responses, and compliance with data protection standards. Handling sensitive data. Sensitive data in research can include personal information, financial details, or opinions on ethical matters. Handling such data responsibly is essential for maintaining research integrity and protecting participants. Guidelines include secure storage protocols such as encryption to prevent unauthorized access, limited data access to necessary personnel only, and clearly communicate data usage policies to respondents. Transparency about data handling builds trust and demonstrates respect for respondents' rights. In consumer behavior studies, sensitive data like shopping habits tied to income should be stored securely, with respondents informed that the data will solely serve research purposes, reinforcing ethical standards. A study on ethical consumption practices followed strict data protection protocols, ensuring sensitive respondent data was stored in encrypted files. This approach built trust and improved response quality. Why is secure data storage crucial in sensitive data research?
To maintain confidentiality and
Okay. What else? Anything else? One thing. Well, right, sir. Second,
To keep secrecy about the personal details.
right. Thank you, ma'am. Any other? Another can be it prevents unauthorized access to personal information of the respondents. How does transparency about data usage impact respondent trust? How does transparency about data usage impact respondent trust? It builds trust by showing respect for participants' privacy. Sensitive data should be shared with all research staff or stored securely with limited access.
B.
Okay. Yes, it is B, stored securely with limited access. Transparency in data usage helps improve response rates or build respondent trust. It is
B, B, ma'am.
right. Build respondent trust. Now, list 3 strategies to protect sensitive survey data. Anyone who would like to share? Strategies to protect sensitive survey data. Just give it a try. Anyone? We have already discussed the strategies. Okay. Data encryption. We can use encryption for both stored and transmitted data. Then access controls. Limited access, we can limit access to authorized researchers only. Third, regular audits. We can conduct periodic audits to verify data security. So protecting sensitive data maintains ethical standards and safeguards participant information. Right? So you can add more strategies like I have mentioned 3: data encryption, access controls, and regular audits. But based on your study, you can mention. Now, final sample questionnaire development. Now that we have covered each aspect of questionnaire design, it's time to assemble the final version. Begin by integrating any insights and changes identified during pilot testing. Review each question for clarity, ensuring it aligns with study objectives and supports reliable, valid data collection. Verify that sensitive topics are handled with care, respecting respondent privacy through measures like anonymity and confidentiality. Use a checklist to ensure that each element, reliability, sensitivity, flow, and ethics is addressed. Please focus. Reliability, sensitivity, flow, and ethics is addressed. This comprehensive approach will create a questionnaire that is publication ready, meeting standards for academic research, and aligning with best practices for participant respect and data integrity. A study developed a final questionnaire on ethical consumerism, refining it through pilot feedback and ensuring publication standards were met. The survey achieved high response rates and was successfully published, serving as a model for consumer behavior research. How does pilot feedback improve the final questionnaire? Yes. How does pilot feedback improve the final questionnaire? It helps refine unclear questions and improve survey flow. Why is a checklist useful before finalizing the questionnaire? You remember we discussed checklist yesterday? Why is a checklist useful before finalizing the questionnaire? A checklist ensures each key element is adequately addressed. The final questionnaire should be left unchanged after the initial design or refined based on pilot test feedback.
B.
Right. It should be refined based on pilot test feedback. B. Publication ready questionnaire should meet ethical and methodological standards or focus only on response speed.
Meet ethical standards.
Right. Meet ethical and methodological standards. Now we can perform an activity. We can review the final questionnaire for publication readiness using a provided checklist. Can anyone mention what should be the elements in the checklist? Okay. We can use a checklist for review on clarity of questions, consistency in response scales, and reliability and validity indicators such as Cronbach's alpha for consistency. Then sample checklist points. Are all questions free of bias? Have sensitive data handling measures been implemented? So a thorough review ensures the questionnaire meets publication standards, enhancing data quality and adherence to academic rigor. So let me show you the sample questionnaire on consumer behavior and brand perception survey. Now see, we have divided the questionnaire into different sections. You remember initially we have discussed DVs, IVs and other points. So section 1 here focuses on brand perception, which has further subpoints on quality perception, brand trust and brand reputation. Question related to brand quality perception can be, how would you rate the quality of our brand compared to other brands you use? Now you define the scale to be used to measure quality. It can range from much lower quality to same quality to much higher quality. Then brand trust. The question can be, how much do you trust our brand to deliver quality products? Now see, the scale will vary again. It is based on the question you have taken. So it can vary from not at all to moderate or to then to complete, or not at all to moderately to completely. Then question related to brand reputation can be, how positively do you view our brand's reputation in the market? Now check on all the parameters, whether it is unclear, whether it is biased, whatever we have discussed today and yesterday. Think about sensitivity, various points, subpoints, think about language, think about clarity, think about double barrel aspects, right? So how positively do you view our brand's reputation in the market? Now see the scale from ranging from very negative to neutral to very positive. Now section B on consumer satisfaction. It is having subpoints such as product satisfaction, value for money, or customer service satisfaction. Question related to product satisfaction can be, how satisfied are you with the reliability of our product? So scale can range from very dissatisfied to neutral to very satisfied. Value for money, the question could be, do you believe our product offers good value for its price? Scale may vary from strongly disagree to neutral to strongly agree. Always take odd number for the scale. Customer service satisfaction. The question could be, how would you rate your satisfaction with our customer support? The scale can vary from very poor to neutral to excellent. Section 3 can be related to consumer loyalty, and here we can discuss about repeat purchase intent and likelihood to recommend. Now you see, it will cover all the dimensions of your study. So it has to be thoughtfully prepared. How likely are you to purchase from our brand again in the next 6 months? Very unlikely, neutral, very likely. And it should cover all of your objectives. After this questionnaire, you should get answers to all your objectives that you have to achieve. All objectives must be covered, but may not necessarily be in the sequence of objectives. Because questionnaire is designed, as I told you earlier, in a particular flow. But you should find that all objectives are covered, irrespective of the flow of the questionnaire. Likelihood to recommend. The question could be, how likely are you to recommend our brand to friends and family? Scale can vary from very unlikely to neutral to very likely. See, this question is highly important or is of high importance. Recommendation indicates future purchase or referrals, right? And that is why we kept it under loyalty. If they recommend, they become your loyal customers. But since we have used anonymity, there is a disconnect between respondent and the response. Right? So if you maintain secrecy, then you may identify your loyal customers. Clear? It depends how you take the research. The objective is to build and maintain trust of the respondents. It is up to you whether you go for anonymity or you go for safeguarding of the responses and the respondents' information. Section 4. Now, very important these days, related to environmental impact on purchasing decisions. As you know, UN SDGs, 17 SDGs to be achieved by 2030, as stated by UN. So, always try to go for environmental related aspects, SDGs, sustainability, ESG, which are the buzzwords these days. Environmental concerns in purchasing and sustainability product preference we are covering here. So the question could be, in context with environmental concerns in purchasing can be, how important is a product's environmental impact in your purchasing decisions? And the scale can vary from not important at all to moderately important to extremely important. And in context with sustainable product preference, the question can be, how likely are you to choose a product from our brand if it is advertised as eco-friendly? This is something consumers are looking for these days. So the scale can vary from very unlikely to neutral to very likely. And it also gives you indications about the future products. Then sensitivity to promotions and discounts is the next section, where we can cover promotion, responsiveness, and effectiveness of loyalty programs. Question related to promotion responsiveness could be, how likely are you to purchase this product when a discount is offered? And the scale can vary from very unlikely to neutral to very likely. In context with effectiveness of loyalty programs, The question could be, how valuable do you find our loyalty rewards program in influencing your purchase decisions? And the scale could vary from not at all valuable to moderately valuable to extremely valuable. So, you see, another activity as we have discussed related to informed consent. As I mentioned, it should be mentioned before beginning. Yes, informed consent should be mentioned before beginning the survey, and participants can see the consent statement. The consent statement we have already discussed earlier. This is a sample, and key points of reliability, validity, and sensitivity must be taken care of. So reliability, as we all know, consistent scales, mostly Likert type, are used across questions to ensure stability in responses. You should know the purpose also. The external expert may ask, why only Likert scale you have used? Then you can respond this way to ensure stability in responses and allow Cronbach alpha's measurement for internal consistency. Clear? Then, as far as validity is concerned, you can mention about content validity, wherein you can mention each section. Now you can justify, right? Each section, perception, satisfaction, loyalty, etc., that you have seen, comprehensively covers the intended constructs, right? Ensuring all important aspects are addressed. So all constructs must be covered as far as content validity is concerned. So justified. Construct validity. Questions are structured to align with theoretical constructs in consumer behavior. So you have taken a theoretical framework in the beginning, then map with it, such as trust and satisfaction. Maybe you tout to model or anything that you have taken, TAM model or any other based on your research. Then criterion validity. Loyalty intention questions are framed to potentially correlate with future purchase data. So we have covered reliability, we have covered validity, all its three types, and we have explained here. Now sensitivity. Questions are phrased neutrally, avoiding bias and minimizing socially desirable influence. So, this comprehensive questionnaire captures essential facets of consumer attitudes, ensuring data that is valid, reliable, and insightful for analyzing consumer brand perception, loyalty, and sensitivity to environmental and promotional factors. So, now you can make a table. You can mention your objectives you have taken, questions related, like 2 questions per objective, 3 objectives here, and then you can mention the variable types, you can mention the scales you have taken, and then you have explained reliability and validity. Clear? So the more clarity you have in your research, the more effective your research will be. Similarly, other objectives and other parameters. So each question is crafted with appropriate scales and structured to achieve high reliability, validity, and sensitivity, ensuring robust data collection on brand perception, satisfaction, loyalty, environmental concerns, and promotional responses. So this table format presents a concise, publication-ready questionnaire design. So I hope this is sufficient for today. And you get better clarity?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So any queries, please ask.
The Likert scale you're using throughout the 5 point only.
Yes. It
It's,
depends on the study. Like what
okay.
I suggest, you should keep few open-ended questions, like suggestions, if any, from where you will get more elaborative responses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other question? Okay. Any other topic you would want for future workshops? You are studying it?
Data analysis, do you take the data analysis also?
Data analysis using SPSS?
Yeah.
Yes, that we can take.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone, whenever in future also they come across any topic you are looking for workshop, you can inform Bhola sir, and we can move further accordingly. Thank you so much for your attentive listening and active participation. Over to Bhola sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful sessions yesterday and today. I thank all the participants for their active involvement on both the days. And as suggested, we'll definitely plan a workshop in the coming days on data analysis using SPSS. And please keep suggesting in the WhatsApp group. The certificates will be sent latest by this weekend. You will receive the certificate. And that's it from our side. I wish you all the very best. Thank you, Monika ma'am, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you sir. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
It's wonderful meeting and interacting with you all. Thanks a lot.